Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Burns Reviews, and today we were talking about the new romantic mystery, Wander Darkly. When new parents, Adrienne and Matteo, are forced to reckon with their trauma amidst their troubled relationship, they must revisit the memories of their past and unravel the haunting truth in order to face their uncertain future. This movie stars Sienna Miller, Diego Luna, and is directed by Tara Miele. Let's start with the pros. This is a very ambitious type of concept. It reminds me a lot of Eternal Sunshine from the Spotless Mind. It has a great mystery box to it where you kind of want to know what's going on. The movie opens with a car accident, and you don't really know what happens. You don't know if Sienna Miller's character died. She comes in contact with her fiance, boyfriend, what have you, and you don't know, did he die as well? It's kind of a giant mystery. But the two have to go and, retrace the steps of their relationship and find out where they went wrong. Tara Miele talks about how 6 years ago she was actually in a car accident, which resulted in her writing the script. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but I don't know. I think this movie has a lot of good ideas, and it has some solid acting. I think both Diego Luna and Sienna Miller are pretty solid. They really bring the emotional resonance that is needed for a lot of the scenes. However, and this is going to be about the cons now, it's a bit jumbled. The pacing isn't quite what I would have liked it to be, and there's a lot of little things that just don't resonate as far as the characters. The characters are not incredibly likable. They argue a lot, which is fine. I understand that that's the kind of thing that they have to go and sort out and try to figure out if they're even compatible, but they argue so much that it kind of pulls you out of the movie. There's this one character that Diego's character, Matteo, is constantly, I guess, looking at, and so the girl, Sienna Miller, is like, why are you looking at her? Are you sleeping with her? And he's like, I'm not. This conversation happens maybe 5 times in the movie, and by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're kind of drained. I've been reading some reviews that kind of said that people saw this movie and they just started crying and it was very sad. I didn't have that reaction. I thought this movie was well executed in its acting. It's a smaller budget film. It's not a big budget film. I was watching a interview where Diego Luna said that it was a very tight shooting schedule, so it was kind of like theater where they kind of had to film it in 1, 2, 3, 4 takes, and then they had to move on. And you kind of feel that. You kind of feel like it feels like theater. It doesn't really, or not improv, but it feels like, you're watching an acting class, and the actors are just told, okay, this is what you need to do, action. And it doesn't feel as polished as I would have liked. It has a good score. The cinematography is great, especially in the third act. But I would say the first 2 acts are a little bit slow. I don't know. It's a very slow-paced film that I wanted more from. I wanted it to go deeper. I wanted to connect to the characters. I wanted to learn something more about what they were doing and what their past was about. But there is some really interesting stuff, too. For example, they kind of touch on the point that you don't really remember things the way that you think you do. Typically how most people remember things is how they felt. They remember the emotion. Were they happy? Were they sad? Were they mad? And then they kind of let that color that in for how they remember it over time. So there's a couple of scenes where they have to retrace the steps, and and again, Spotless Mind already did this, but they have to retrace the steps, and then maybe they discover things that they thought were true actually weren't. So that was kind of cool. But overall, I thought this movie was ambitious. It had some great ideas. I like the mystery box. I like not knowing, is she dead? Is he dead? Are they both dead? Are they both alive? But maybe in this weird limbo, or maybe they're in a coma. You don't really know. I like the setup, and I thought the acting was pretty solid. I like the actors. I just think that the characters that were put on the screen, the characters that were put on the page, could have been written a little bit better. I think the script needed a second draft, a little bit of polishing maybe. I think that Tara Miele, who is a newer director, she's a female director. She kind of, in her interviews, she kind of talks about how she's proud to represent a female director that isn't usually seen in Hollywood that often. They're kind of few and far between. And I think she does a solid job, and I'm not faulting her directing skills, but as a writer, I think she could have either, I don't know, maybe gave it a second go, or it just felt very improv. It felt like they had some very broad strokes, and then maybe they let the actors improv a little bit. It just didn't quite have the resonance that I was looking for. So I'm going to give Wander Darkly a C+. Anyway guys, let me know what you thought of Wander Darkly. Comment down below. Be sure to subscribe if you want videos just like this one. We have a couple of screeners coming up later in the week, so be sure to check those out. They'll be coming out very soon, and we're almost at 3,000 subscribers. So if you'd like to subscribe down below, much obliged, and we will see you next time.